The NHL is full of big hits that make the highlight reels, but what really goes into a player being an elite competitor with body checks, and why do NHL players throw body checks? I'm about to break down to you the science of everything body checking, body contact, and how we separate men from pucks in the NHL, why it is such an effective technique, and what goes into and what you should be watching for when taking a look at your favorite NHL games. So if you're ready to learn to watch hockey better and you want to catch those little subtle nuances they don't show you on SportsCenter, this is going to be the video for you when it comes to big hits, little hits, small hits, body contact, and being a tactical thinker in the game of hockey. The first point of a big hit is what we see here. It is separating man from puck. Another key example of separating man from puck doesn't actually mean the hit must do the job, just the threat of the hit, as we see Sam Bennett here take an absolutely beautiful angle, and that forces a pass up the wall. As soon as that pass up the wall occurs, we converge back on defensively as well too, and that is going to cause them to retreat back into their own zone, all because we are trying to separate man from puck. There's a second reason we make big hits as well too, and in this example, it is to take a man out of the play. The man still has to have the puck. We lay a little hit that you see right here, and the camera is so quick to move and hockey is so quick to move, that puck has almost already left the zone, but we finish up with what is called finishing your check. That finishing of the check automatically causes a turnover, and that turnover leads to a goal. So number one is separating man from puck. Number two is to take a man out of the play. Number three can just be pure intimidation. There is nothing worse to a player or a team than having to keep their head on a swivel. And whether or not these checks are clean or not clean, the point of them is that when your superstars pick up a puck, a freight train can be coming to take your head off and definitely separate man from puck. Now, as I dive into teaching you about body checking, there are two distinct terms I think you need to keep top of mind. Number one is body contact. Number two is body checking. So far, the few highlights that you've seen on this clip is body checking. But body contact is the most common check thrown in hockey. It's legal in the NHL game. It's very effective at separating man from puck. It's legal in the women's game. It's legal in minor hockey. It's a very critical play. And here we have Jeremy from I Train Hockey helping us demonstrate this example. You can see the first criticalness to body contact is that you run parallel with the puck. So he takes a beautiful angle here. He steps in front of the player. He makes a play on the stick and a play on the puck, and he leans in. This is what we call body contact. And the criticalness to this play is that he doesn't go perpendicular. If he steps in and lays a hit right now, it's a body check. But he uses a really tactical skating angle, and from there, as soon as he's parallel with his opponent, he steps in front of him, pins his stick against the boards, assuming in this example he has the puck, and everything is okay. Here's another great example of it from the Ontario Minor Hockey Association. We make a play on the puck first, we step forward, they don't finish their check. It is incidental body contact resulting from making a play on the puck where you are parallel with your opponent. And a body check can be defined as anything or everything else, especially when you're in the open ice and you are perpendicular to an opponent. There is no play on the puck. There is no puck first necessarily. You are attempting to body check the opponent. All right, so to recap, separating man from puck, taking a player out of the play, pure intimidation are the reasons for body checking. We also have a distinct difference between body contact and body checking, both requiring similar skills. Let's look into what those skills are and what goes into making such a great checker. Number one, you have to be a really great skater, and Tom Wilson is an excellent skater. I'm not saying he's the cleanest body checker, but he is an elite hockey talent when it comes to moving his feet, and that allows him to line up guys like Drew Doughty here on this hit. The fact he's always able to make a big booming check, whether or not it's within the rules, is irrelevant. He's able to make them because of his feet. You see, no matter how big and how strong you are, the faster you can skate and the stronger you are on your edges, the better you're going to be at delivering checks. You want to be a great hockey player, you need to be a great skater. And in today's NHL, whether we're looking at the Tkachuks, Tom Wilson, Sam Bennett, they're all elite skaters. And people focus on those names, but there are a ton, almost 900 of them, to say the least, NHL players that are great skaters. You play in the league, you're probably a good skater, but the better of a skater you are in that league, you're going to level up your hitting even more. It was the combination of skating and size that truly made Dustin Byfuglien one of the most feared hitters in the NHL. He is able to come in, play beautiful stick on puck, but it really is his skating and his balance combined with his monster frame that made him such an anomaly. The number 2 thing that makes you a great hitter is great angles. Let's watch Sam Bennett. As the play develops from right to left, Sam Bennett does not take straight lines towards the player. If he were to take a straight line, he'd be moving in, but notice he is actually moving parallel with his opponent. That parallel movement, though, is starting to see him converge against his player, and that is what's going to allow you to be so effective. You take this beautiful angle, you now run out of time and space. So in order to be a great hitter, you have to be a great skater, but you also have to be smart enough to finish that check on a great angle. And even though it's just a little bump here, that angle means everything. By the way, that little hit, it led to a goal. Number 3 for me is stick on puck. I always want to separate man from puck. So as a coach here, I want all my players not tucking their stick away, and I want them to put the stick on puck. So as you can see, great example here, Philadelphia Flyers, beautiful stick on puck. It just means making a stick check. It's a poke check as you're skating in, and you finish that poke check off with a little hit. From there, that puck is beautifully separated. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough puck support for him to pick it up, but the moment you see here of stick on puck leads this to being extremely effective. Number 4 is body position, and we're going to go back to I Train Hockey. Check out his YouTube channel here. When your feet are pointed in the wrong direction, you're not ready to make or receive a hit. So we'll see right now, Coach Jeremy's feet are pointed one way, the player of the example's feet are pointed the wrong way. You want to make a good body check, your body position means everything. So you can see him demonstrating here to kids who are learning how to hit. You want to get those feet parallel. Because you see, parallel feet don't allow the edge of your blade to dig into the ice. So if you're non-parallel here, you're almost perpendicular, you start falling off your edges. So as he's demonstrating here on this video, you have 2 edges on your skate, an inside edge and an outside edge. And if your feet are pointed in this direction while you are being checked in the opposite direction, you got a real great chance of going ass over tea kettle. So we turn those feet around, we get good body position, and now when we have an opportunity to both deliver a hit and take a hit, when our feet and toes are pointed up ice or at our opponent, we have an opportunity to brace and deliver a big hit. Finally, we want to have our feet and our base nice and wide, and we want to have our shoulders pointed at an angle where our shoulders are not square, but they're turned and our elbow is tucked in. The last step is the ability to get low and then come up and through the hit. This is an over-exaggeration for a teaching clinic, but getting low and coming through your opponent is critical without leaving your feet. And once again here, Mr. Dustin Byfuglien is going to help us out. We'll see feet are pointed towards his target, his shoulders are beginning to turn in, and his butt and his legs are pointed down, and his energy is driving up. So our knees are bent, we're coming from low to high, our toes are pointed forward, our shoulder is in, and at the last minute, we make shoulder on shoulder contact, and we absolutely wholesale Gazdick into the boards. I bet you didn't think I could cross-reference kids learning ice hockey to Dustin Byfuglien absolutely exploding a guy, but the basics make the best hitters. Great skaters, great body position, great feet position, use of your shoulders, low to high, turns into great body checking. And the final bonus fact for this one here, some people don't believe me when I tell them this, but it's like throwing a punch if you've ever been taught to by a boxing coach. We don't stop at the face or the body when we punch through an opponent. A body check is the exact same thing. Football players know this as well. We are going through our opponent. We are looking through our opponent. We are not stopping at our opponent. We are putting our shoulder right through the back of their sternum or through their shoulder when we make contact. So we don't want to pull any punches. We want to make sure we explode up and through with power, with good body positioning, good feet, great timing, and great angles. It really turns out that the better of a hockey player you are, especially with a skating base, the better of a checker you will be. And hitting comes in multiple forms. We have our hits that are along the boards, like this one here. And these can pose a unique challenge because there is no rule for this in boarding. How far a player is away from the boards in the NHL doesn't actually have anything to do with the rule of boarding. The rule of boarding is simply a violent check into the boards. But the reality is that no matter how clean the hit is, and this is shoulder to shoulder, we're coming low. Take a look at where the feet are pointing. They're pointing properly. We have beautiful shoulder. We have beautiful low to high action. Everything about this hit is delivered properly, with the exception of the fact that it is a violent check into the boards. In that instance, boarding. But it's not always boarding. We'll get more into it. The second type of body check we have is the open ice check that you've just seen. We also have hip checks. That's where you deliver a hip on hip hit like you see right here. You stick your butt into him. His butt or his hip hits yours. Sometimes it ends up in a little bit of a clip. It's tricky. It can almost end up being a knee. Sometimes you can go too low and it can be a little bit too much of a low bridge like we see here. But there are plenty effective reasons for this check. As we can see here, sometimes you get it caught being a little bit too cute when you're dangling, and that allows a hip to get out and take you down low. They are almost always a perpendicular hit, meaning one guy is coming one way, one guy is going the other way. And there are plenty of examples, especially at high speed, of this check being both effective and clean, but it's risky because it does leave you open for penalties if you miss. But boy, it looks good. And then we have something new to the NHL, which is the reverse hit. Pastrnak here has the puck. As the player comes in, Pastrnak actually delivers a hit to the player trying to separate him from the puck. It's a hit that's a little bit newer in today's NHL. It is not outlawed by any means, but it is arguably one of the most dangerous hits in hockey because the person going for the alleged hit may not always be going for the hit. They could be going to play the puck. The player could be in a vulnerable position with their numbers turned away, and we are not supposed to make checks from behind, yet that player delivering the reverse hit is allowed to send a check, usually into the opponent's chin or lower body. It is a risky one, but it's legal. It's part of the game. But overall, what are some rules of thumb? Because we see a lot of checks that when does a check really become a penalty? And the answer is it's super gray, and this isn't a reffing channel. This is a channel teaching you about body checks. But there are a few things you can look for, especially if you're a new hockey fan, to get you thinking about whether or not that check's going to be clean or not at the highest speeds. First off, the player has to have the puck. It's on your stick or off your stick. And this is very clear. As long as the puck has touched your stick, you're okay and you're eligible to be checked. This doesn't count, though, if the puck is in your skates. So if somebody sends you a puck and it's within your perimeter or your area and somebody lays body check, that is actually considered interference because you have yet to play the puck. You also aren't allowed to target the head. So here is a hit that gave a concussion to Seth Jarvis. You can see Nico Mikkola coming in, but the primary point of contact, although Seth Jarvis's head does snap back and it is a devastating hit, is his shoulder. And the easiest way to look for that is the elbow tucked in. There's always going to be a chicken wing looking, but it can't be extended out, and you can't use your shoulder or your elbow to target the player's head. That one hits the shoulder. It's a big man hitting a smaller man in open ice. It's going to hurt. A player also needs to avoid checking from behind. So if you see a player's numbers and you push him into the boards, that can be called a 5-minute major and a check from behind. It's also a really weird hockey league where if you turn while making a play on the puck, it may not be a check from behind, even if you hit the numbers. And even guys like Connor McDavid can get in on the action. This is an obvious check from behind from McDavid. The referee's right there. I'm not sure whether it was called or whether it wasn't, but these aren't checks that should be made, but there are going to be plenty of times in hockey games where the arm may or may not go up. It's just a good rule of thumb to avoid the numbers. In any other league, though, other than the NHL, if you touch the numbers on the back, an arm is likely to go up. And frankly, what I have found differentiates checks from behind, like this one here on Verhaeghe, is whether or not it's the playoffs, whether or not the player just gets up, and whether or not they go in together. On this hit, Verhaeghe rides with Tanev into the boards. It's still a dangerous hit, but many times this makes it simpler for the ref to make a no call. It's also critical that you don't target a player's head here, using Jacob Trouba as an example of what not to do. That little chicken wing that comes out and that elbow that clips Rodriguez, that is not legal. As I've said before, you gotta keep that shoulder tucked, but plenty of times when players miss hits and there's body separation like this, they can get a little too antsy and throw out a wing. There's also charging where you don't stop moving your feet and leaving your feet, which is not allowed. So here's an example of both Jacob Trouba targeting his own head into the boards, but because Martin Necas was able to avoid it, Trouba ends up eating a little bit of crow. Nothing legal about that. And finally, the player's knee. Open ice checking can leave you responsible not just for heads or for jumping, but for the knee of the player here, like Brendan Gallagher. Even if a player makes a play around you here, like what is occurring, he's going to go around Gallagher by making a play. Gallagher does not have the right to establish himself and clip a knee. It's his responsibility not to do that. And usually when you see a player ending up in this position, you know it's going to be a knee. All right, guys, that's it. That's body checking 101 in the NHL. So we have open ice hits, we have hip checks, we have reverse hits, and we have checks along the boards. The point of body checking is separating man from puck, intimidation, and taking a man out of the play. It's the men's league, which is why I use the term men, that allows body checking, but every league in the world allows body contact. The difference being parallel versus perpendicular. As long as you're parallel and playing the puck first, it is going to be body contact. Anything else is going to be a body check. It is always going to be a hotly debated topic. But the last thing I'll leave you with is that how we feel about body checks is usually the result of what happens with that body check. Here we can see Torrey Krug without a helmet. The flow is flying and he hits Robert Thomas. Torrey Krug came flying in nearly 200 feet away from the puck without a helmet and absolutely explodes Thomas. And you can see that crowd light up. And I know you lit up at home too. Robert Thomas was okay. Everybody shook it off and they say, this is hockey. Meanwhile, an ugly hit in an empty arena with no crowd where Mark Scheifele absolutely blows up Jake Evans, resulting in a concussion. I know fans will get me on this for it, but we have two very similar plays here where Mark Scheifele, you can see flying in, everybody's in the air, and we can see it flying in, everybody is in the air. One results in a concussion, one results in fans exploding. The difference in these plays isn't to talk about the penalty, the outcome of the play from the referee. The difference is that we as fans love it when the players get up, but we have to remember that these hits are hard and leave players open to shorten lives and careers. One is a concussion, another one is a hero, another player is a villain. Realistically, these are open ice hits that start 200 feet away from the play. Big, strong, fast men making body checks and body contact. It is a dangerous sport, but truly, the outcome of a body check is the safety of a player. They get up, we love it. They stay down, tears start rolling, and people get upset. But no matter what, when body checking is allowed in the game, you're going to have both outcomes, and you're going to have a high percentage of both outcomes. So it is very hard to take the good without the bad in this sport.